Hey guys, it's Jeremy Harold Metal Music Meltdown back with another video. What do you have for today, guys, is another video, kind of a year-end kind of video. I'm going to be populating a few of these in the next couple of weeks. I've already done my top 10 of the year. If you haven't checked that out, go back and check that out. I'm posting a album artwork that I really enjoyed from this year. And I wanted to shoot a really quick video of the 3 albums that really disappointed me in 2022. 2 might not be surprising to most of you, but 1 will be a shock, I'm assuming, and I'll get a lot of hate in the comments, but this is based on my taste, and I'll give my reasoning why. So the first album is the newest by Amon Amarth, The Great Heathen Army. I first heard the first single, I thought it sounded great, typical Amon Amarth, nothing mind-blowing, and then when I digested the whole album, once I heard it streamed online, I'm like, this is the same album as Berserker. I find this band is kind of losing its steam and maybe losing ideas or something because they're pumping out the same album over and over again. I was really disappointed with this album. I thought it was going to be something a little bit different finally. But it's just the same thing again. Not that it's bad necessarily. It's not bad music. It's still heavy. It's still aggressive. It's catchy. It's everything you love about Amon Amarth, and they are probably one of my favorite bands. Probably top 50 bands of all time for me. But I find the last couple albums have just been the same. Just they're pumping out the same album over and over again. And The Great Heathen Army was the same thing for me. They didn't really seem to have any new ideas. The melodies and stuff sound the same. Guitar work is very similar. The albums are kind of blending together at this point, and they're hard to distinguish. But yeah, that was my first pick. Amon Amarth, The Great Heathen Army. And the next one I went with was the new one by Behemoth. Have no idea how to pronounce it. It's Opus Contra Natvrem or something like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I love Behemoth, super heavy band, pretty consistent too through their discography. I love most of their albums. The last one was kind of a miss for me a little bit. It had a few moments. But the album from this year was kind of a disappointment. There was all mid-pace, no high-energy stuff on the album at all. It was kind of level all the way through. It just felt boring and uninspired. It just felt kind of flat. Probably my most disappointing Behemoth album to date, to be honest with you. It had a few kind of moments here and there, but overall, very disappointing album. I'm hoping they kind of turn it around on the next one. The Satanist from 2014 is arguably my favorite Behemoth album of all time. Fucking masterpiece. I love that album. And some of their older stuff like Demigod, the classic albums, I just don't understand the direction they're going in. The last 2 albums, in my opinion, are kind of going on a downward trajectory. But yeah, just the last Behemoth album just didn't do it for me, didn't connect, and I wasn't a big fan. And the last one I'm going with will be the most controversial, Megadeth, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, I think it's called. A lot of people gave this album praise, and when I first listened to it, I'm like, this is pretty good. It's got some cool riffs. I really enjoyed the riffs. The music sounded good on the first couple singles I heard, but the more I listened to it, I just wasn't impressed. I went to the side. It's kind of hard to explain. I judge an album by how much I want to go back to it and listen to it again, based on how good it is. Like, for instance, the new Destruction, the new Corrosive album I fucking loved, the new, I'm drawing a blank now, Creator album. I kept going back to those albums because I wanted to hear certain songs or just play it all the way through when I was doing something. But the new Megadeth album, I just never went back to. I just kind of shelved it. Listened to it a couple times when it first came out, and I left it at that. I never had the urge to go back to it. And the odd time I did, it just kind of didn't do anything for me. It's hard to explain. Like, when I listen to it, the riffs sound really cool. Dave has really good riffs like usual. The musicianship's really good. His voice sounds a little off to me on this record, in my opinion. It doesn't sound as good as it could, but he has had some health issues in the last 5 or 10 years. So that's expected to some degree. But for some reason, this album, it just kind of went to the side. It didn't really connect with me either. I just kind of enjoyed it the first couple of listens, and I just never went back to it. So let me know down below, guys, some disappointing albums for you from 2022, what you think of my albums I picked. And until next time, keep it metal.